Hey citizens, Digital Master here with another ship preview video. Now, are you interested in knowing all about the Crusader Spirit C1? And this video is just for you. So strap in and let's begin. Now in this video, I want to change up my format just a bit to focus on what is important and most relevant about the ships in Star Citizen. The goal of this video is to properly inform you about what ship you may already own or are considering picking up, whether that be in-game or via pledge. Now I aim to give a clear and concise idea of what the ship is, but most importantly, what it will become. Now the cool thing is, if you watched CitizenCon 2953 in October, then you are aware that there are some significant changes and improvements coming to Star Citizen as a whole, but also very much so in the relation to your ships that you fly, new and old. Today, I want to deep dive into the Crusader Spirit C1. The C1 is the cargo variant of the Spirit series of Crusader ships, designed as a mid-range cargo delivery and courier vessel. So let's dive right into the overall purpose of the ship. Delivering and moving cargo is a common thing to do in Star Citizen, and having a ship that can move a considerable amount is both important and a convenience. Not only is the C1 capable of this, but also with the help of a commercial-grade tractor beam, no less. Oh, and did I mention that you get to do it in style? The Crusader aesthetic is one favored by many Star Citizens. The bigger brother of the Spirit series is the Crusader C2, which also has become a staple in Star Citizen for moving larger cargo loads. The C1 is a medium-sized ship, competing with the likes of the Freelancer, Drake Cutlass, and others in this size and class. Currently, the C1 is also well armored with the highest hull HP of its competition. I want to stress caution though when making decisions with the current default loadouts and values of the ship, like hull HP and other things, as all of these things can change over time with balancing and updates to the game. However, the overall long-term goal and role of this ship is very clear. It will move a decent amount of cargo across short to medium distances throughout the verse, while boasting respectable survivability and operational range across the verse. As we all know, Star Citizen is still in alpha today. We just enjoyed CitizenCon 2953, where we have reached an inflection point in development and are now preparing to move into the next phase. This is where we will start to see the introduction of resource management for managing the components in your ships and things like life support. We will also see Maelstrom for the new ship armor and hull destruction tech. In addition, we will also get the new star map, radar, and FPS maps. There is a lot to consider in the coming patches as it pertains to all the ships in the game and those that are on the way. I hope these videos will be helpful to you in understanding and preparing for how this will impact your favorite ships. For the C1, in the short term, which means today, this ship is good for moving cargo from A to B if you decide you want to do cargo hauling, buying low, and selling high. It is also good for bunker missions in that you can travel in style while also fitting small vehicles in the back for ground traversal if you so prefer. You can also do just about anything with different levels of effectiveness, making this a really good choice for a daily driver if you are one to dabble in multiple gameplay loops. For the long term, and one of my favorite things to speculate about, the C1 has a firm place for many playstyles and preferred game loops in my opinion. As stated, and what is pretty clear is that the C1 is designed for cargo hauling. Once we get more systems in the game like Pyro, this is where we will start to understand the full value proposition for the ship. Depending on how CIG balances the fuel economy for each ship and how that will work overall, the C1 is considered a medium-range ship that should be able to travel between 2 to 3 systems without much issue. The fuel range both in hydrogen and quantum should both be enough to get you through multiple systems without having to refuel too many times, unlike fighters and smaller starter ships. Now, I can see the C1 also being valuable to smaller to medium-sized orgs. The C1 has a crew size of 2, so if you have a friend to play with, this is a very nice ship to fly as it has 2 beds, a very small, I guess you call a kitchenette, and a bathroom. The crew size means that when resource management comes online, life support should be sufficient to sustain both you and a friend during extended operations. As far as strengths and weaknesses go from a basic standpoint, the C1 is great at short to medium operations involving the movement of cargo. It's great for playing with a friend. It also has a tractor beam for moving the larger cargo boxes. It has a decent armament for deterring smaller threats while boasting a decent defensive package and hull HP and shields to buy you time to escape a sticky situation. Finally, it has a coffee machine, counter, and cabinet space for food storage. Now, in regard to its weaknesses, it's not designed for very long-range operations, venturing across many systems without the need to refuel. When in combat, the goal should be to disengage unless fighting smaller and weaker ships. Finally, it's not designed for deep exploration. Now, as the game continues to have features and tech added, there will most likely be more considerations to be made. But for now, these are the things and items that come to mind. The competition is interesting for the C1 in that we have ships flyable right now in game that compete, as well as a new entry on its way in the RSI Zeus. The Zeus is currently in a great position to compete very well against the C1, but let's look a bit closer. First, let's list all of the ships that are in direct competition. We have the Freelancer, that is a dedicated hauler as well, fitting into the medium-sized category like the C1. The Freelancer can carry 2 SCU more than the C1 at 66 and the C1 carrying 64. Keep in mind, these values can change as the game is being balanced. I believe CIG has even mentioned as recently as a week ago, or this week depending on when I release this video, that changes to ship cargo capacities will likely see some changes and soon. The Freelancer does not have a tractor beam, which is worth noting depending on the type of cargo hauling you want to do. The next competitor is the Drake Cutlass with 46 SCU of cargo capacity, but it does have a tractor beam and can cover more roles than the C1 can. The Cutlass Black is a multi-role ship by designation, so not considered to be a dedicated hauler. Now, I added the Cutlass because it is a medium ship that has 46 SCU of cargo space and a tractor beam, which makes it a great consideration for those who may want to get into cargo hauling but not completely dedicate to it. Now finally, the upcoming RSI Zeus. The Zeus is a fierce competitor here with currently listed 128 SCU cargo capacity. That's a lot. It also comes with a ship-mounted tractor beam. Now, in addition to all of this, though things can change, it is supposed to come with more shields and hydrogen fuel range. Time will tell how these values will land by the time the Zeus is released. So keep these things in mind when making any decisions on which to acquire. Now that's it for competition, let's move on to the cost. As with any new ship releases, they are not immediately available for purchase in-game. We generally have to wait a patch or two until that is available. Now in regard to real-world costs, this ship should be available during the upcoming IAE event on November 17th for $100 US war bond and $110 US store credit. Now please remember that all ships will be available for purchase in-game at some point, so please do not FOMO into any ship purchases. Please make wise decisions so that there are no regrets. The C1 is now one of my favorite ships, as it is a pretty cool ship that is sleek and easily one of the best current daily drivers in the game. This is purely my opinion, of course, and depending on how the Zeus lands into the game, it may have a hard time holding that spot on my list. But time will tell, and overall for me, the C1 is a wonderful ship and will be a mainstay in my fleet. Now that's it for me, and I do hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give me a like, and if you are not subscribed, please do me a solid. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Happy gaming to you, and I will see you in the next video.